have seen the resumption of social dialogue between the government and the unions after several years of interruption. What message does your government send together with its social partners, knowing that the situation was tense between the government and the unions?
Just as it was tense between the government and the journalists. Everyone needs to understand that we must fight for our homeland. We made it clear, I spoke with the union leaders. I gathered them here, I spoke to them at a certain point in our history. But I was disappointed afterwards. So I told them, either you are Burkinabe or you are not Burkinabe. So the standoff began. But afterwards we decided to meet with them again because we assumed they had understood the message. And even then, I won't lie, when they came, they still wanted to understand and started displaying certain behaviors. The measures we take, it doesn't work. The country is at war, we have to do everything for the country. This imported unionism, that's not real unionism. There are even some who boast about having participated in the fall of Sankara. And it's them who started everything, and so on. Do you think that's a good thing? The Westerners manipulate you and you keep acting just the way they want. That's not unionism. A union fights for the interests of the workers. But most of the time, what the leaders really want is to come and share in the spoils with those in power. And people stay silent. No. Listen, we have a lot of files on a lot of, not just the unionists. In society, we have a lot of files. People who approached us at the beginning, who wanted favors, who wanted things we refused, who then turned away, who left, who talk. We have their files. So healthy unionism, there are a lot of actions that we have taken. We didn't wait for people to take to the streets to act. When I was talking about daycare workers, it wasn't someone who came to tell us that there were workers who had been let go and needed to have their rights restored. We saw a case and decided that their rights needed to be restored. We told the finance ministers, find the necessary funds to resolve this. The people from City Hall, the Green Brigade, those who work, they had months of back pay owed to them. For these people, those who are out of work, people weren't fighting for them before. No one came to us to say, hey, the women are sweeping branches at my place. It was one of my men who brought it up once. They said, it's been months like this, and so on, with their work. I looked into it, and he told me it was true. I said, as soon as we can, we need to make up for everything they've missed. Some of them had several, even dozens of months of back pay owed. We pulled out the files and decided to make up for all of that. So, we need to practice unionism. If there's a problem, people should come to us and explain it. If we can solve it, we'll tell you we can do it. If we can't, we'll tell you, for now we can't, but we'll be able to do it in a certain amount of time. But if there's a problem, we gather the media and speak however we want. I hope they'll find a solution with you. Otherwise, if after that you don't come to us anymore, I want us to work in an African way. When there's a problem at home, we sit down, we talk, and we have to be truthful. What we can do, we must say clearly, we can do this. What we can't do, we'll also tell you that we can't. Now, if you don't want to, everyone does what they can, but we have to be responsible. There is no problem that cannot be solved. And as I always say, always act with the interests of the nation in mind. That is very important. So we resumed the dialogue as we do with everyone. We haven't broken off dialogue with anyone. Everyone is welcome here.
This is not just a discussion about unions. This is a man confronting the ghost of foreign control that has haunted Africa's workers for generations. Traore isn't attacking labor, he's cleansing it. Because somewhere between independence and now, unionism stopped being about justice and started being about influence. He looks these men in the eye and says, either you are Burkinabe or you are not. That's not a slogan, that's a moral x-ray. Because you cannot claim to defend the people while dining with the same hands that exploit them. The tragedy of post-colonial Africa is that even our resistance was outsourced. The West taught us how to protest, how to strike, even how to disagree, always in ways that serve their interests. Imported unionism became another colonial product, loud in rhetoric, empty in results. And now here stands a young soldier saying no more. He's not shutting down dissent, he's decolonizing it. He's reminding them that true activism doesn't come from foreign training manuals. It comes from the heartbeat of the nation. He speaks of a homeland at war, not just against insurgents, but against dependency, corruption, and imitation. He reminds every worker, every journalist, every civil servant, we must fight for our homeland. That is the return of African civic consciousness, responsibility over rhetoric. And look how he leads by example. He didn't wait for protests or hashtags. He found unpaid workers, city cleaners, dismissed mothers, and restored their rights before the noise began. That is justice without spectacle, leadership without applause. He's showing that African governance can be proactive, not reactive. That you don't need to take to the streets to be heard. You only need leaders who listen. And when he says we have the files, that's not intimidation, that's transparency. He's saying we see everything. We know who's serving the nation and who's serving themselves. Because in the new Burkina Faso, power is no longer the privilege of a few. It is the responsibility of all. Traore is building a culture where unity doesn't mean silence, it means sincerity. Where disagreement doesn't mean destruction, it means dialogue. Where patriotism is not emotion, it's action. And that's the rebirth of the African way. Not confrontation imported from Western democracies, but conversation anchored in truth. In our villages, elders didn't solve problems by marching to the radio station. They sat under trees, looked each other in the eye, and spoke until peace was found. That is what Traore is restoring governance as dialogue, not drama. He's reminding Africa that we can argue without being enemies and correct without being corrupted. The West may call it populism, but what it truly is patriotism reborn. And when history writes this chapter, it will say, here was a young man who reminded Africa that unity is not built by slogans, but by sincerity.
This year, we have seen the